Welcome back to our ongoing live coverage of the Ekiti State governorship election. 7 months after the governorship election in Anambra, INEC now has another chance to perfect its processes ahead the big one in 2023. All eyes will be on the beavers and every other new provision in the newly amended Electoral Act of 2022. Well, some of these provisions have been in previous election, but this is perhaps the first time and the first governorship election where they will be backed by the full weight of the law. So there's a lot of talks about how the bi-modal voter accreditation system is impacting on the quality of this exercise, and indeed now that we would now need to look towards the number of accredited voters to determine cases where there are overvoting. But it's been splendid since morning. We're told that in about 75% of the polling units across the 16 local government areas of Ekiti, election materials and indeed INEC officials came in as early as 7 and 7:30 a.m. in some cases. There hasn't been any reported case of election violence, and it's been a splendid move thus far. All of the candidates in this election also have something good to say. However, the issue of vote buying is rearing its ugly head. An election observer said it's now in an organized mode in the ongoing Ekiti election. We'll be joined by all of our correspondents who are now monitoring the exercise in Ekiti. Voting, according to INEC schedule, should have ended by 2:30. By now, sorting, we've already heard reports of counting in some parts of Ekiti. And we'll be joined by our reporters for the updates from the field. All right, let's go. I'm told that Femi is standing by. Our senior correspondent, Femi Akande, has updates for us right now. Femi, I need to know where you are. The last time we spoke with you, you were in Oye local government area. Where are you right now? Talk to us about precisely what is happening.
Yes, Nifemi, I'm still in Oye local government, Ilese, polling unit 8 in Ilupeju, Oye local government. Well, all is well that ends well. Voting, sorting, counting has ended at this particular polling unit, and we have seen the electoral officers here dismantle the voting box and packed it carefully and left this polling unit. From there, they'll proceed to the registration area, onward from there to the local government before this result finally finds its way to the INEC state headquarters in Ado Ekiti. But you know, it was a peaceful process around here. Voters came out quite early, and indeed the electoral officers came out very early too to complement the enthusiasm demonstrated by the registered voters here. At this particular polling unit, there are 574 registered voters, but at the end of sorting and counting, we discovered that just 218 registered voters came out to cast their ballot. And I asked the party agent of the All Progressives Congress why it appears as if there is a level of apathy. Less than 50% of registered voters came out to cast their ballot. And he said, you know, this is a university community, the Federal University Oye. It is situated in this local government, and there are a lot of students in this area. But currently, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, is on strike. So a lot of students are not around. Some of them have returned to their base. And also there's the state university, there's the Ekiti State Polytechnic, also within these local governments. And you know, the students, some of them registered at this polling unit and some other polling units around here. But because of the ASU strike, they are not around to cast their ballot. So he says this significantly affected the turnout as we have it here at, in Oye local government area of Ekiti State. And you know, Oye local government area has more than 65,000 registered voters. But, you know, we will still wait to see at the local government level how many of these registered voters turned out to cast their ballots today. Nifemi?
It appears we have to wait for the numbers to come in to be able to decide precisely if the turnout is anything to write home about based on the reports we've had earlier on in the day. But it seems this exercise is ticking all the right boxes, early arrival of materials, early arrival of INEC personnel and officials, security and all of that. But I'd like us to talk quickly about the issue of vote buying. We had an election observer earlier who indeed mentioned that organized vote trading took place in this exercise. Speak to us about what you saw and what is being reported.
Yes, you know what, we didn't see any incident of vote buying around this particular polling unit. And I must tell you that we saw agents from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission come here, move around the whole area. And this has scared a lot of people around here, especially those planning to get involved in vote buying. So it was pretty much organized, and you know, we also saw agents undercover. They did not wear the typical EFCC red jackets. Some of them just had their tags bearing security, but you know, they were from the EFCC, just going around to see if they can find anyone buying votes or selling votes. But we didn't see much of that around here. But you know, there has been this whole conversation about vote buying online under the hashtag Ekiti Decides 2022. We saw a viral video somewhere in Ado Ekiti where some registered voters at the polling unit were speaking out, rejecting vote buying. They said that they were saying that at this time there is no longer a Dibo Kosebe. Yeah, Dibo Kosebe. You know, that particular phrase became popular around here in the southwest region of Nigeria, especially during elections, where people are lured with certain amounts of money and told that, you know, with this amount of money you can, yes, have a nice meal or cook a pot of soup and feed yourself and your family. You know, they say that this time they have been properly sensitized and will not sell their vote for just a piece of meal. But, you know, just we have also spoken to some of the party agents. I spoke with some of the registered voters, some of those that indeed cast their vote here. I asked, did you sell your vote? How much were you paid to vote for your preferred or to vote for any political party? You know, they told me that, yes, they voted their conscience. They were not influenced in any way or induced in any way to vote for any political party. You know, at the end of the voting here, too, we have seen, I would say, a cautious, people here around here are cautiously savoring the victory that they have recorded at this particular poll, at this particular polling unit. I know they are cautious because they also understand that what happens here is not the final outcome. The final outcome of this whole voting will be determined at the state headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission. So they are all cautious so that their joy will not be short-lived at the end of the day. Yes, they celebrated at this particular polling unit, but they know that the bigger victory will be when the total votes cast across the state is announced at the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Nifemi.
INEC have had to adjust its structure over the years. One of it is restructuring the ballot box itself and also not allowing voters to approach it with their phones in order to discourage vote trading, or what many call vote buy. Did you see INEC sticking to that particular policy at the polling unit where you are?
Yes, this was also highly discouraged by the party agents we saw around here. Domestic election observers also were here. You know, before the process started, there was a bit of sensitization done by the electoral officers here. They set the ground rules and they told them you are not allowed to use your phone to snap your ballot paper, because this is a way of vote buying. After they snap the ballot paper, then they go and show whoever is buying the vote, they show him who they have voted for so that they can collect the cash. This was strongly discouraged around here and at some other polling units. But you know, it cannot be totally overruled. You know, these people involved in vote buying have also gotten smarter. You know, like you earlier said, it has become an organized activity, or you may want to say an organized crime. Yes, an organized electoral offense. You know, they have gotten smarter in doing all of this. They are no longer around the voting area like they used to be before. Sometimes they stand at a distance and maybe pass certain use certain signals and codes to communicate with the voters. Well, it's left for the security agencies, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the ICPC, to decode some of these methods now used in vote buying and stop it in its track. Femi.
Senior Correspondent Femi Akande live for us in Oye Ekiti. We'll be back with you, Femi, when you have more updates for us from that end. Well, let's